looks like we're live. Ugh. We should be good. Hello, everyone. Take a few minutes to let everybody pop in while I set up what we've got going on here. If you've never been before, welcome to Fanfic Friday, which is when we delight in the horror and shame of my past, my horrible shame. Basically, I will read sections of old fanfics I wrote growing up, varying ages, alongside beautifully created Photoshop renditions of the events of the story. They're gorgeous, quite literally works of art. And we delight in the terrible things that we find. So far there's been 2 stories we've read. We did a one-off that was Chris Redfield and Wesker, a romance story between the 2 of them, because I was young and horny for Wesker. And then the next one was a Devil May Cry story that was a romantic story between Dante and a self-insert OC that was quite blatantly my idea of who I was going to be in college. Those were some trying journeys. We've survived a lot to get here. Hello, Handsome Ratch, Lobsoul, Lord Dalloway, and Delvin. Thank you all for joining us. Today, we're actually going to pick the next story that we read. I have prepared some excerpts from 4 things that I wrote growing up. It was trying. It was difficult to survive and choose what 4 things I was going to put on the auction block this week. There were so many options, but I went with these 4. They're all incredibly trying, incredibly difficult. You guys will get to vote, but we'll before we vote, we'll go through them a little, and I'll read excerpts from each. Hello, Henry. Thanks for joining us. We'll wait a few more minutes since it technically is just now 4. We'll see if we get anybody else joining us. It's been a little while since we've done Fanfic Friday. It was last year, I think, that we finished the Devil May Cry story. Please read us some experts. Listen. I'm tired and I can't read. Which is, why am I reading? Oh god. I'm glad everyone is excited for the catastrophe that's gonna come. Ooh boy, I found things I forgot about. Today, I found some things that were horrible. Oh, congrats, Handsome Ratch! Yay! That's so delightful. Congratulations. I'm sorry that this beautiful day is being besmirched with the terrors of my past. Alright, we'll go ahead. I can go ahead and start describing some of what we got. Oh, you have a nephew now! Yay, that's so cute. I'm so happy for you. It's so much fun. I've been babysitting again for my niece, Lynette, who's now a year old, or will be next weekend. She is wild. Kids are great. They're so weird. There's no preparing for how weird they are. Okay, so we have a small group with us. YouTube's it's telling me there's 0 people, which is blatantly untrue. But, you know, that's YouTube for you. I'll presume there's at least 1, and we'll keep going. I don't know why it's so broken nowadays. Anyway, so, I'm gonna give a brief overview. I can't talk! Why can't I talk? Brief overview of the 4 stories, and then I will read excerpts from them, and then we will vote on the ones we like best. You can vote without donating, but the donating definitely does help, and more votes will count. Like, if you pay $5, that will count for 5 votes, you know, if you want to. This is a rigged election to gain money for the channel. So we will go ahead and get started. Ooh boy, with this. Let me make sure this slideshow's in the right order. I thought there was an image before this. Nope, okay, it's just out of order. Whoops. The first story is Final Hell. God, that's the worst title I could have come up with. Hello, Zako. Final Hell was a story I wrote in high school that was actually originally a movie script that my friends and I were going to film and make. Oh boy, handsome wretch. I don't know that anybody would enjoy that, but you did pay me, so I'm contractually required to read in silence. Final Hell was a crossover-ish between Silent Hill and Final Fantasy VII. I say ish because there's no actual content from Silent Hill in it. It's just the concept of Silent Hill, but with Final Fantasy VII characters and settings. So Nibelheim is the town, and Cloud is the main character. Sephiroth is Alessa. The people that go missing are Zack and Aerith, I think. I picked both because technically they're both kind of, his missing friends. I mean, there's a lot of trauma and horror in Final Fantasy VII. A lot of Cloud having memory problems and missing friends and stuff. And so I guess in high school I was like obsessed with both things and fused them together. So that is something that I made. Hey, Bro Memento and other folks joining us. This story is 12 or 13 chapters long. It's not completed, but it goes for a pretty decent amount of time. Writing it in high school, it's a little better. It's probably on par with the Devil May Cry story. I wrote it around the same time. Are there female characters? Obviously. There's Tifa and, who else? I'm pretty sure I included the characters from Advent Children, because that was this period of history, for sure. Lots of characters from Final Fantasy VII. No characters from Silent Hill. Just the themes and ideas. I vaguely remember a lot of it was playing with horror ideas, trying to be scary. I read over some of it. It's not, but I was 15, and it's what I thought, was creepy. And I tried, it's literally the setup of Silent Hill 2. He gets a letter, and it's something. So that's the first one. That's the first, horrible thing. The second one is Kingdom Hearts Accelerate, which was a Kingdom Hearts sequel I wrote in 2006. This is the first fanfic I ever wrote, which means it's the worst I ever wrote. I literally physically cringed reading it. Physically. As a kid, I was really proud of it because it got like 300 comments on fanfic.net, and I felt like I had a following. I was so popular. Did I write for Transformers fanfics as well? Yes, I wrote multiple Transformer fanfics, probably in my high school, college years. I didn't pick one for this time, because I actually was reading over it, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of decent, because I wrote it closer to college. I was like, this isn't funny. Maybe one day we'll go back to it, but, yeah, I could message you that, Handsome Rash, if you remind me on Discord. This story was literally just all the tropes. Yes, accelerate. The idea was everybody loved the Organization 13 characters after Kingdom Hearts 2. I mean, they still do. That whole summer after that game came out and I played it, I wrote this in a summer. A chapter a month, 30 chapters of every chapter was just anime jokes and LOL random and the author interjecting into the story. And God, it's just, I could vomit. It's horrible. Oh man. Anyway, that's the oldest story that I have, and it will be so humiliating and horribly hilarious. Hey, Cygnus! Alright, the next one is... This is something I forgot I wrote. This is something I forgot about, and I found it again. And now it haunts me. It haunts my dreams. The Actor and the Jester. It's a Final Fantasy Dissidia story, which Dissidia is their, crossover fighting game where all the characters from Final Fantasy are together. And for some reason, the character that Kuja interacts with is Kefka. So, that's the main story plot with Kuja in it, who was my favorite character, because he's hella gay, was Kefka. So immediately, my teenage mind is shipping the two of them. Kefka fucks in this one. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a fade to black sex scene, but they fuck. So that's something we all have to live with now, that knowledge. It's all written in first person. So Kefka talks like, whee, and does all the son of a submariner, and I would have to do that. Oh God, I would have to do that. Oh God, I'm gonna have to do that today. Oh, I'm crying. I'm crying at the idea of having to read like that guy. Oh God. Oh God. I did this to myself. Ugh. Alright, well, that's that one. The last one is another really old story. It's actually the first in a series of one-shots, and it is also from the 2006 era. It went further than... I think it took me like 10 years to write them all. Every one-shot was shipping a member of the organization with a original character. They were all just... and I think the idea was that love gave them their hearts back. Because they're nobodies. They don't have hearts. And all this, literally, the plot of every one of the stories was love saves them or something. And they're just the most random OCs ever. Hello, everyone joining us. Joe, Alexis... Oh man, the second you showed us a fic you wrote when you were 12, my mind's made up. I know what I'm gonna vote for. Well, that's both of these. The difference, I think, is this one is more romance focused, so I was trying to be romantic. And then the other Kingdom Hearts story was comedy, so I was trying to be funny. So, would you rather see 12-year-old me fail at romance or fail at comedy, is basically the idea. Now that we've introduced them all, we are going to read excerpts, so don't fret. You'll get to taste a little of each one. Oh God, and I think I remember which one I made the first one, because I wanted to get it over with. Alright. Here goes nothing. The Actor and the Jester wrote in 2009, so 11 years ago, I would have been 16, which I think that works out with when Dissidia came out, I think. Because I was huge into Dissidia. Cujo was my favorite. I was mega gay. Kefka was the only character he interacted with. Okay. Alright. I already have to explain something. The first section has sentences that are italicized because they're like movie-style overlaid quotes. Like, I guess he's thinking them as he's thinking. Because I'll just read it. Hey, Emmett, welcome to hell. I am not irrelevant. His name sends spasms of rage through my body. Each time I heart it. Oh God, there's a typo in the second sentence. There's a typo in the second sentence. It's supposed to say each time I hear it, but it does say each time I heart it. Ugh. His name sends spasms of rage through my body each time I hear it. Garland. Though I know that the armored warrior is not the same man who created and then abandoned me, I cannot help but hate him. The name is a disease, and hatred is a trait that comes to me easily. I am not replaceable. Seeing my brother on the other side of the battlefield angers me greatly. We'd always been enemies right to the end, but I had come to peace with him. I'd thought the battles and the war was all over. Yet suddenly it had returned in the blink of an eye in the same form of Zidane. Zidane? Zidane. My brother back to kill me once again. I hate him. I am not worthless. When Chaos put his claim on me and dragged me into this war, I was, as I had always been, bitter, frustrated, ready to release my anger on any nearby target, Zidane especially. And I was lonely, despised by the enemy for hurting their poor monkey, abhorred by my teammates who viewed me as an upstart rookie. It hardly concerned me, as it was no different than what my life had been like. But I was determined not to be abused, abandoned, or cast aside again. I would not be forgotten. My hatred and, though I would not admit it, my fear drove me into a frenzy during battle. That was when I caught his eye. He saw my hate, and he felt it too. He saw my fear and laughed. For him, laughter was more natural than breathing. And it was thus that in the midst of my anger, an alliance was formed between the most unlikely of candidates, Kefka, Palazzo, and me. A performance of such parameters had never been acted out before, nor even thought of, and it would be the one to change me forever. I'm already crying again. Alright, now I have to be Kefka, Jesus Christ. Okay. I don't even know how to do his laugh. He's like known for doing ooh hee hee. Like, I can't do it and make it sound good, but oh boy, here we go. Ooh hee hee! How wonderful! Absolutely brilliant! The ultimate battle of dumb versus dumber, and I get to run amok with all of them and destroy everything. Ooh hee! Ugh, these heroes with their flowing capes and shiny swords and stupid fucking hair. How many times do I have to level up before my beautiful blonde locks can defy gravity? Which parent was the chocobo cloud? Mommy or daddy? Ha ha! And the villains, the bad guys, son of a submariner, 3 skanky whores, 4 idiots, brutes in an armor, a mama's boy, a drunkard, and a partridge in a pear tree. They're all idiots. I hate them. It's all so funny. Blood against blood, lover against lover. 'Cause Sephiroth is so fucking the chocobo. How cruel, how magnificent. But I don't care about any of them. Not a one. I'm just here to cause chaos, to move the pieces the way I want so that everything blows to smithereens. I decided to help that Kuja fellow bait his little brother to make everything more interesting. If we captured one of the goody two-shoes, the others would just lose their minds. And the little monkey would be especially upset, since it was his darling brother doing the kidnapping. What fun! So I offered my assistance to the mage to spice everything up, to make it interesting. Interesting indeed. Whee! Oh God, this is, I was very used to having eyes on my back, for all sorts of reasons. In Alexandria, there had been many who did not trust me for good reason. They would face me with a smile, but once I walked away, scrutinize my every move. This is Kuja now, by the way. There was a page break. There were those who watched me in envy of my magic, or my position in the castle, or my beauty. Those were the reasons most kept their eyes on me. Some would watch me from attraction, but would shyly turn their eyes away once I faced them. Very few had the strength to sweep their eyes over my form while I was watching. I knew I inspired lust in many, and I used it to my advantage. But in those situations, I always had the upper hand. In the situation with Kefka, I somehow knew that if I wanted the upper hand, I'd have to fight for it. He was not the kind I read that wrong. He was the kind whose eyes would wander over me whenever. It mattered not whether I knew he was looking. If I caught him in the act, he would simply grin, smirk, laugh, something of the sort. He had no shame. It was, in a strange sense, refreshing. But it also felt strange knowing that while he admired my form, I could not use it against him. He wasn't that weak. It was his idea to try and capture Squall Leonhardt, one of Zidane's friends who preferred to travel alone. It seemed like a sound idea, but failed in execution. At the time I would not admit it, but the lion defeated me much too easily. I was no match. Later it would occur to me, was I really fighting? Or was I simply acting out the part that I had been assigned without truly wanting to play the role? There were openings the boy had left which I did not exploit. I think he knew that. That was likely why he did not finish me off then and there. Perhaps he knew I was not into the role, so he did not perform his either. Cue Evanescence again. After that failure, it became obvious a trap was in order. This plan went perfectly. Zidane wasn't the brains of the family, and his friends weren't exactly geniuses either. I captured Bart's, the mimic, but it seemed I wasn't enjoying the role of captor either. Kefka and I went to retrieve him from prison, and I could sense he had already woken up and hidden nearby. Kefka could as well, I'm sure. Yet somehow I found myself saying something to the effect he'd disappeared, we'd have to go find him. Kefka played along, and Bart's managed to escape. I wasn't sure why I'd lost the stomach to keep the boy hostage. As for Kefka, he thought it would be funny to let a hero run amok in the villain's encampment. Bart certainly did come close to recapture many times, especially when he ran in on a meeting between Sephiroth the Emperor and the time bitch Ultimacia. That was amusing to say the least. As time passed, I began to realize that while I did not want to join my foolish brother in the light, I was not enjoying the dark either. I had lost my fire, my interest waning. I simply didn't care anymore, which made me wonder, if that was the case, what kept Kefka from leaving? That's where we'll stop with that one. Because, oh god. Oh god, oh god. So yeah, that story, if you've not played, Dissidia, it quite literally follows the, plot of Dissidia Final Fantasy. Which one? The second one? No, the first one. Why is it not letting me do... I'm trying to do an invite to the Discord, because, I think Alexis asked in the chat, and it's not letting me do it. Oh, there we go. It was, there were, like, chapters that happened during the game with specific characters, and I basically wrote my fanfic interpretation of what was happening behind the scenes during those chapters, plus Kefka and Kuja fuck, which, again, I blame Square Enix for making the gayest character only interact with the clown. That's their fault, and I take no responsibility for that. That's, you know, that's something they did to me. Oh, boy. All right, so, that's that one. That's that one. Let's X that out. And I believe we're going to this one next. Next story is Final Hell. So this is a section, the very opening of the story that's a kind of crossover between Silent Hill and Final Fantasy VII. The very first part, I literally just quoted in my Restless Dreams, I See That Town, Silent Hill, and forgot to take out Silent Hill and replace it with Nibelheim, which was, you know, anyway, God, I wrote this in 2009 as well. So 2009, that would be another high school story, because I should find the film footage, because we did record a little bit of basically one of my friends just wandering around my house in a white shirt and kind of like blood stains, that was paint, and like going in our crawl space in the garage and trying to make it look creepy, and like there were items that he was like, it was so poorly done. Anyway, 5 years had passed since the night of the fire, and he dreamed of it still. The searing heat of the flames, the blinding light of his hometown going up in smoke, the burning. He remembered it all, could still feel it, almost, as if the fire was still licking at him while he rested in bed. 21-year-old Cloud Strife sat up in bed, tired beyond words, but unable to fall into a peaceful sleep. He threw the blankets off his body. They made him feel warm, and warmth was the last thing he wanted to feel. It reminded him too much of that day. Apparently, blankets remind you of flames. Okay. Stop it, he whispered. He was letting his thoughts drag him down, and that wouldn't do any good at all. The blonde stood and stretched and glanced at the clock. It was 3:37. Good thing he didn't have to work tomorrow. He sighed and ran a hand through his unkempt hair. What did he have to do tomorrow? No one needs me. No one wants me. Cloud banished the dark thoughts and tried not to think of anything. He moved towards the door quietly, not wanting to wake those still asleep. Tifa Lockhart and her adopted son Denzel lived with him in the cramped one-bedroom flat. If Cloud squinted, he could see the dark-haired woman curled up on her bed by the window, with Denzel sprawled haplessly beside her. So I created a scenario where I guess they're poor and they live in an apartment with one bedroom, and Cloud took the one bedroom and said, Fuck you, Tifa and Denzel. Sleep in the living room. Okay. What? Hello, yesterday. I think I said that right. You tripping me up. Thanks for joining us. It was a struggle, even with 2 incomes and a shared rent. Tifa worked as a barmaid at all hours, and Cloud did whatever odd jobs he could, fixing things or making deliveries. Denzel was a 6th grader, and school was his job. They were doing the best they could. Tifa hadn't been there the day of the fire. Her family had moved away from Nibelheim before Shinra. Stop it, Cloud whispered again, though it was less of a whisper. He froze. Tifa moved a little on the bed, but remained asleep. The blonde let out the air he'd been holding. That's an awkward way to write that. And slowly opened the door. Okay, wait, another door? So they're in a 1-bedroom flat. And the bedroom, he leaves his bedroom and goes into a living space where there's a bed that Tifa sleeps in, and then opens another door to the kitchen? What kind of an apartment is this? The kitchen was small and dirty, with dishes in the sink and the remains of Denzel's dinner on the counter. Cloud picked up the dish and headed to the trash can, scraping it off. In the trash was a newspaper dated a few weeks prior. As soon as he realized food was about to fall onto it, he gasped and reached right into the trash. He yanked the newspaper out and wiped it off quick, cursing quietly. Damn it, Tifa. The woman kept trying to get rid of it. Cloud wouldn't let her. Flattening out the paper, Cloud's eyes darkened as he gazed over the front page. Tragic crash beneath Mount Nebel. Midgar natives killed while traveling abroad. The image beneath the title made Cloud's stomach twist in knots, and a shot of heat raced up his throat like he was going to be sick. Cloud turned away, gripping the paper so tight his knuckles were white and the paper was ripping. Without looking at the newspaper, Cloud folded it back up and set it on the counter, biting his lip as he did. A few tears escaped his eyes meanwhile. No matter how much time passed, nothing changed. They weren't coming back. No matter what. Now he had more terrible things to dream about. Oh. Just as Cloud was about to step away, something on the counter caught his eye. Turning, he saw something tucked into the newspaper. What? Unfolding the paper, the thing slipped out. It was an envelope. Dingy, slightly gray, and with a few wet spots, it looked like it had been through some trouble. Cloud tentatively reached out to it, as if it might bite. When he grabbed it, nothing happened. The man flipped it over and his eyes grew wide. It was addressed to him, but he'd never seen it before. So apparently magical letters from Silent Hill are now appearing in trash cans. He hadn't received any mail other than bills in a long time, and how would it end up in the trash? Slightly confused and a bit shaken, Cloud carefully ripped the top off and reached in. Holy! He bit back a scream and dropped the envelope onto the counter, jumping back. Something had been inside it, something very wet and very cold. Heart pounding, the blonde reached forward again and pulled on the envelope. He lifted it by the end and let the contents slide out. A letter was inside, folded into 3 parts, and tucked into a plastic baggie so it wouldn't get wet? Silent Hill puts things in baggies? The other thing clicked on the counter and began to roll, almost falling off the side. Cloud leapt forward and caught it, shivering from the cold touch. It was a vial, from a lab or a doctor's office. It was about the length of his palm and width of his finger. Inside it was half full with a light green substance, with condensation covering the outside. No wonder it had been so wet. What the hell? The blonde turned it over in his hand, his eyes trained on it. He felt like he'd seen something of the like before, in a dream of a dream. But it hurt to think about it. Cloud held it up, looking through it. It shimmered like water. He set the strange vial aside and picked up the letter in the bag. He removed it and unfolded it, and saw that some of the water had managed to get inside. A few places in the letter were wet, and the ink had run because of it. Still, he could manage to read most of it. Cloud began doing so. Hey, Cloud, been a while. What's up? Sorry we left so abruptly. It was kind of unplanned. One morning, I wake up to go to work, and the next I know, Aerith's dragging me to the van, telling me we've got to go somewhere. You know me, never could say no to a pretty face. This is not the same gravitas as the letter from Silent Hill. Yes, this is my fanfiction, written in high school, to my utter horror. Cloud blinked at the letter, no longer reading it. His heartbeat quickened, his breathing hastened. It couldn't be. But the handwriting, the writing style, it was just like him. She really needs to go to the East Continent for some reason. We're gonna head towards the Nebel Mountains, near your hometown. I told her we should bring you, since you know the area, but she says we can't involve you. She doesn't think we can involve anybody. It's scaring me a little. She hasn't acted this way since. This part was too wet to read. And I know, I'm a soldier. I'm ready for anything, but I've got this really weird feeling, like something bad's gonna happen. I guess a lot of that's been going on lately. I mean, after... This, too, couldn't be read. Our group of friends has really thinned, huh? I guess I just don't want to lose anyone else. I don't want to lose Aerith, so I'm sending you this letter. There's no way I'm going to let Aerith get hurt, but if we don't return soon, Cloud, I'm counting on you to come save her. You're the only one I would trust with that. Look in Nibelheim. I have a feeling that's where she'll be. Thanks, man. Zach. Tears were falling from Cloud's eyes to the paper in his hand, and his arms were trembling. The man stumbled over to the couch and sat down. His eyes scanned the letter for a date, but he couldn't see one. Immediately, he stood again and raced to the counter, grabbing the envelope. There was a date in the top corner, a week before the announcement of Zack and Aerith's car crash in the Nebel Mountains. It had been sent before their deaths. Cloud's eyes slowly traveled from Zack's letter to the vial of green liquid resting on the counter. What was going on? Dun, dun, dun. Whew! Oh, you only started fanfic writing yesterday? Well, congrats! Writing fanfic is a lot of fun, and it's a good way to practice. I say practice not because it's not more official, but it allows you to focus away on like character development, story development, instead of having to focus on world building, introducing your characters to the world. It's a great way to sort of sidestep all that and tell fun stories. I've been writing fanfic since I was 9 or 10, as, you know, my huge folder of fanfics will attest. And yes, I enjoy making fun of them, and a lot of them are cringy, but I mean, I wouldn't be the writer I am today without them. I don't want people to think that I'm writing this and being ashamed of what I'm writing. It's just definitely funny. I did forget to show you the, I enjoy that. I enjoy that immensely. God, I love doing these stupid things. Oh, and I still have we don't need that up right now. Oh, man. When can you vote? You can vote at any time, and if you vote multiple times, I'm not gonna be like, but we'll take a moment at the end and definitely let everybody vote, since then we'll have heard all the story excerpts. But yes, we will go, let me get another sip of water, and we will go to the next nightmare. Alright, Jesus. Hey, Bad Wrong Fun! So do you get 10 votes? Yeah, Rat, sure! You did donate 10! Thank you so much. Okay, as I said, this was written in the summer of 2006, I think almost immediately after I beat Kingdom Hearts 2 for the first time, and I'm not sure when that game came out, so that may be right when it came out. We're gonna paraphrase some of this, because I spent a good 10 pages almost writing a magic spell. One super vote. Sure, you can have one super spell. Super vote, not super spell. Okay. So, we'll start with this to explain. Bold text. It was only a few months afterward. Italic text. Tell her I'm sorry for everything. Bold text. After Organization 13's defeat by the Keymaster's hands. Italic text. It's my turn now. My own adventure. Bold text. After the death of one and the birth of the Bond of Flame. Italic text. You guys are coming with us. You're stuck with us. Bold text. A new adventure began anew and old enemies rose again by the hands of others. Italic text. Goodbye, Radiant Garden. Goodbye, Sora, Riku, everyone. We'll meet again with our last lost friend by my side next time. We will find him, all of us, and then we'll come home. Goodbye! Oh, God. Okay. Okay, so now it says 3 months ago, and all of this is bolded, because apparently a flashback should be bolded in my mind. It is 10 pages of a character casting a spell that resurrects the dead members of Organization 13 at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2. Yes, this is an OC. The last lost friend is not an OC. The character casting the spell is an OC. God, what am I doing here? I'm gonna scan through. Okay, I'm gonna describe the character, because this is hilarious. A cloaked being stood in the center of the proof of existence, a long cloak flowing behind him or her. A cloaked figure stood in the center of the room, a long cloak flowing behind him or her. It was midnight blue, and upon the upper right corner, over the being's shoulder, was a large crescent moon. He or she held a staff in their hand. I used there! They! I could have said they if I was just gonna say there. Only the length of the forearm, with a small red star floating freely, and the handle of a moon on the staff's end. You can tell I had a very vivid image in my head of who this was, and I wanted you to see exactly what they looked like. The lower body of the being could be seen, and this body was lean and lanky, but not skin and bones. Barefoot, the feet of this person were scarred and bruised, as if they had run a long way barefoot. Anklets covered both the anklets. Again, anklets covered both the anklets, and higher up was a short skirt of deep black that clung to the being. A tattoo covered the thigh of the being's left leg, a baby blue tattoo that looked like the sign of a nobody turned on an angle. The hands of this person were being held out over their head, revealing the heavy, blood-covered chains that shackled the person to the many tombstones in the room. The person opened their cracked, dry lips and began to speak. A light, airy voice, but also deep, like waves of water, came out, revealing the person as a woman. God. This was slightly surprising due to the person's height, about 5'8". Okay, so this is dialogue that's in quotations, but also in parentheses and also bolded, like everything else. Blood in my veins, searing my heart, lifting my soul, manipulating my body, connecting my being, driving me insane. I bleed. I live. Oh, it's because the woman spoke in an unknown language. I guess that's why it's in parentheses, to say that it is, yeah, God, I don't know, man. I think I said the woman thing about being 5'8" because I was very tall. I was 5'7" at 11 years old, and so I got picked on a lot for that. So I think I had this idea in my head that women were supposed to be short because people always bugged me about it, because it's mentioned in the next story. The next character is super tall, and it's commented on in that one too, because I was really tall. Like, I'm not considered that tall now, but you think of like an 11-year-old that's 5'8". Yeah, I'm still 5'8". I didn't get any taller. We're not gonna read any more of the intro. We're gonna skip, because the rest of it is literally, she talks to all the members of the organization. Remember, there's 13 of them? She talks to all of them and does a magic spell. And it's, let's see. And she draws a picture of each of them and says the magic spell again. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's so bad. Okay. At the end of the spell. Here, she called. Take them. I give them to you. Use them wisely. Do not falter. Try to be the humans you once were, and grow again. A whimsical look grew on the woman's face as she slowly let her hand fall away from her heart, and she collapsed. And then she names all the spirits as they fly away to become people again. I'm still scrolling. Oh, but she keeps Axel. She sends all the spirits away to be reborn, but she keeps Axel for plot reasons. And then she sends a letter to Kairi, I guess. And then the platform of the building, I guess, that they were on collapses, and she falls into darkness. And then it says, "Welcome to present day." So she has him memorized. Yeah, basically. All right, present day. This is gonna be so awkward. I wrote it. It's written like a person's actually reading it. Ahem. As I said before, it was only a few months after the defeat of Organization 13, and Sora, Kairi, and Riku were staying at Radiant Garden, aiding their friends in the restoration of the Grand World. They lived in the Castle Hollow Bastion, which had previously been Maleficent's hideout. I spelled that really wrong. And the castle had a great view of the Great Maw and Castle Radiant Garden, where Leon and the others were staying. Every day, the three traversed the Maw to visit the others, and every night they traveled the Maw again to get home. Why would our heroes stay in such dangerous wreckage as Castle Hollow Bastion, away from their friends? For training. In the last few months, Kairi had grown stronger and was learning to use the powers of her Keyblade as well. Remember, this is 2006, and we're only now this year getting playable Kairi, and 12-year-old me was starving for it. You could tell the way this story is written. I just wanted Kairi to be cool. Riku was adjusting to not being able to fight in the darkness, and Sora was just being Sora. The three were especially ecstatic today, since today was the king's planned visit to Radiant Garden. He was bringing his head knight and best magician along, happily, and the three couldn't be more enthralled themselves. Now that's enough narration from me, the woman from the whole 3 months ago bit. I know, I'm supposed to be asleep. This is all a dream. Okay, it's a dream that's turned into reality, so I could see what was happening while I was asleep. So what? I mean, that's just the kind of power you have when you're a shaman that... Oh, I shouldn't have told you that. I literally stole that line from Harry Potter! I literally stole that gag from Harry Potter! Now it says in parentheses, normal POV. I'm sweating. I am sweating from how much this is stressing. Like, God. Oh, man. But, you know, you gotta give it to, as much as I'm ratting on her, 11-year-old me wrote steadily for an entire summer every day. And the end product, I'm actually going to look that up right now. The end product ended up being super long. And then I wrote a sequel to it. And then I wrote a sequel to the sequel. Like, I wrote 3 stories on this premise of what, you know, Kingdom Hearts 3, let's see here. The first one ended up being Kingdom Hearts Accelerate, has 137,000 words. And it was written from 2006. Like, it was written in a month. In 1 month. Holy shit. And then the next one I wrote in October of 2006. Holy crap. Oh my god, Utada Hikaru's bi? You've blessed me with information I didn't know. Amazing. And also, yeah, little me was on a roll. I mean, the story's incredibly cringy, but damn, I mean, I definitely owe my writing ability to this story. Because the response I got to this were, other 11-year-olds were entertained. I got some responses. Led me into fan fiction and into writing more. And then I started writing. I did a writing club in college or high school. I was the president for a while. You know, go little you. God, it's so bad. Okay. Normal POV. Kairi, wait up! Sora called, still trying to pull his shoe on. Usually, Kairi was the last to arrive at the castle due to her speed, but today she had left earlier than the others and was well ahead. Riku managed to pull his white jacket on and began running after Kairi, running past Sora and causing him to fall back on his butt. Hey, guys, Sora complained, finally slipping his shoe on and rushing outside. Giggling profusely at Sora's antics, Kairi managed to keep her lead for 5 seconds. Riku bounded ahead in no time, and with an exasperated sigh, Kairi kept on trekking. Luckily, Sora was still way behind. This is the next part This is the worst part. This is the worst part of everything today. So just brace yourselves. Running through the crystal fissure, Riku smirked at his friends in his oh-so-sexy way. Ouch! Okay, fine. The authoress promises not to mention the sexiness of certain characters named Riku, Demix, or Axel in the future. Ouch! Okay, Amsterdam. On with the story. Riku smirked back at his friends confidently and spun around, only to bump right into a black-clad chest. Shaking his head, Riku looked up and grinned sheepishly. Sorry, Cloud. With an emotionless nod, Cloud continued on past Riku, walking around Kairi as she caught up. With one last look at the blonde-haired enigma, the two kept running. Sora was finally coming round the bend up towards the crystal fissure when he saw Cloud up ahead. As he came up to Cloud, he began to greet him when he suddenly tripped and hit dirt. Pulling his leg back, Cloud continued on innocently as Sora cursed up a storm. You guys suck. Cloud smirked. Sora arrived at Castle Radiant Garden, covered in dirt and sweating profusely. Riku and Kairi were already there, Riku leaning against the railing coolly and hotly, while Kairi sat against the ground, heaving but pleased with herself. Yuffie and Kairi were holding a conversation when Riku interrupted by greeting Sora. What happened to you? Yuffie smirked, eyebrow raised as she looked Sora over. With a half-hearted glare, Sora trudged over to the wall and collapsed against it. I'm glad you made it, Sora, a taunting voice came. Sora looked up to see Leon leaning over him, a smirk over his sexy, usually coldish face. He stood straight and looked at the four as a group. We have a problem. Problem? Kairi asked. Leon nodded. 11 problems, he sighed. The four shared nervous glances, and Sora stood as if he hadn't even been tired in the first place. Okay, guys, don't panic. Sid's voice came from the open door down the staircase, and he exited the room to come into Sora's line of sight. But something weird has happened. Leon continued for him. 11 dead souls have been resurrected, to be given a new chance at life. Sora's eyes lit up. Like Orin was? That's not so bad. What's the problem? Or 11 problems? Leon sighed, running his hands through his hair. The souls were dangerous, but they've been stripped of most of their power, and they've been put on a sort of leash. One you can control, Kairi. Kairi stood as Leon's gaze fell on her. They won't hurt anyone, but... Sid, who had not been participating in the conversation, had closed the door to the room and was now repeatedly banging his head against it, a bland look on his face. The group's conversation died down awkwardly as all of them slowly turned to look at the blonde. Sid didn't notice. With an awkward ahem, Leon turned back to the group. This is so clearly anime. So clearly. Yeah, Orin is a character in Kingdom Hearts 2. He's resurrected from the dead by Hades in the, whatever world. Hercules world. Hello, Polar. You don't have to, you can have a vote. I said at the top of the hour, you could have a vote without donating anything, but it is definitely appreciated. If you want to write your fanfic, I can send it to Muse. You can always upload it somewhere and then link it in the Discord and we can take a look. You can private message me if you don't feel comfortable sharing it with everybody, but, I think everybody's pretty cool over there and we'd love to read your story. And Stratos, hello, I believe you're a new face. Sorry for folks I've missed saying hello to since I've been reading. The Queen, hello. Knives, thanks for joining us. Alright. We're about to, This is very anime, and this next scene is the biggest of anime. Maybe I should just show you. The three threw apprehensive looks at each other, Kairi being curious. She could somehow control this leash? Riku was the most apprehensive. Protective thoughts were passing through his mind as he stepped towards Leon and ahead of his friends, to be the first in the line of fire. Sora was simply baffled. What was so bad about these spirits? Leon turned and walked down the steps, the trio and Yuffie in tow. Yuffie stopped at the end of the stairs as she knew what was going on. With an apprehensive look back at Yuffie, Sora gulped and pushed gently ahead of Kairi next to Riku. Leon placed his hand on the door handle. Sora looked up to him, and after he and Riku exchanged glances, nodded. The door swung open. A muffled scream came from Kairi. Yuffie winced. Riku's eyes went wide as his mouth fell open, and Sora just gawked. In the room was Merlin, first of all, and as soon as the door opened, he scrambled out, throwing insulting and fearful glares back at the inhabitants of the room. computer was Demix, who was singing loudly and happily and terribly off-key as he typed random nothings into the computer with flair and pizzazz. Sitting on the desk was Zigbar, who was grinning and singing as well, a little more to tune, but not amazing. Vexen was in the center, at the table, reaching to the center of the table and tipping the vial of his hand into a flower pot there. Luxord was watching with impatience and excitement next to Marluxia. Suddenly the flowers exploded and grew much bigger, attacking Vexen with a screech. Over his pain-filled screams, Luxord could be heard saying, "Pay up," as he extended his hand to the grouchy Marluxia. Across from them, Zeldin was in a chair, leaning back and pointing at Vexen, laughing wildly as the plant attempted to eat the chilly academic. And according to the empty bottles in front of him, he was drunk. Zexion was drunk as well and was laughing even louder, and to think he could laugh at all was a miracle. In the far corner, Lexius and Cyax were fawning over one of Merlin's books entitled Playboy. Scratch that, that would be one of Sid's books. In the center of all this was the tall, silver-haired man with tan skin and golden eyes who, for all else, had a bit of a smirk smile on his lips, as if he was fighting the urge to laugh along with them, but couldn't help smirk at their weird behavior. Sora was completely and utterly shocked, as was Riku, and with one last look at each other, they snatched the door from Leon and slammed it shut, both leaning against it as if it would burst open at any moment. Sora called out the Keyblade and stuck it through the handle so the door couldn't be open, as Riku ran off. "Keep that door closed," he called. Kairi leaned over the rail after him. "Where are you going?" she called. Riku stopped and called back to her. "To find the deepest, darkest pit in the universe, and then I'll use the weight of the dawn to throw them in it!" Now, here at the end, we have a note from 11-year-old AJ. Do I have to? Do I have to, guys? It is technically part of the story. Okay. That was interesting. Authoress here. If you like it, thanks. If you don't like it and you send flames, that will only power up Sexy Axel, and he'll burn you into pudding and feed you to the Canadian moose. Constructive criticism is welcome. Thanks for reading. P.S. I didn't play Chain of Memories, so I have no idea what Marluxia and some of the others are like, except for what I've read in fanfics. If you played Com, please review with tidbits of what they're like or something. Much appreciated. If you send flames, you will only power up Sexy Axel, and he'll burn you into pudding and feed you to the Canadian moose. What does that mean? Unfortunately, even I remember these thoughts. Like, I don't know what it means, but I remember in my brain, there's a thought that goes, yeah, the Canadian moose. That was a thing. What was the thing? What was it? What was this thing in middle school about pudding and a Canadian moose? And the fact that it used to be when people reviewed your fanfics and were mean, it was called flames. I remember that now. God. Oh my God. Oh, jeez. God. All right, that's the end of that one. Whew. Oh boy, the Canadian moose, that's something. I completely forgot about that. That's gotta be some kind of inside joke, some kind of LOL random. Oh man, God. The next story is gonna be about as bad because it's also from this period. Oh no, it's 2007, so it was a year later. This story, the last one we've got for our lineup this week, is The Newly Blossomed Lily, which is the Kingdom Hearts, romance story I wrote between a female OC and Xemnas, because that was the thing I did. And I googled, the character is very mom-like, so I googled moms in stock photo, and that's what stock photo thinks moms look like, so, you know, the more you know and all. Alright, so, water, oh god. Oh, man. Lily K. Jefferson, the second, mind you, never took herself as a squeamish person. True, she was not the bravest woman this side of Sunset Hill, but Lily always took pride in being able to help the neighborhood children with bruises and scrapes without even flinching. Whether it was pulling shards out of glass out of little Sarah Palm's hand, or even the nasty incident where Cypher took a bad fall and his wrist came out of place, Lord knows what the rash boy was doing, but whatever it was required a trash can lid, train tracks, and a blindfold, and it didn't end well. So when Lily came across a man moaning forlornly in an alley, she thought she would be able to patch him up and take care of the poor fellow. She was very wrong. Here, Jeff offered, passing the trash can back to his sister. The pale-faced girl proceeded to vomit into it for the third time. Jeff Gaylord Jefferson, the fifth, just so you know, was a doctor of the highest regard and one of the most renowned in all of Twilight Town. As soon as his sister had called, gasping and choking between words, saying something about a grotesque sight and how could anyone, he rushed to Lily's old beaten apartment on Sunset Hill. Taking in slow, deep breaths, Lily tiredly looked to her brother. Before she could say a word, Jeff answered her. He'll be all right. His wounds are terrible. I suggest he stay here for at least a month, maybe 2, and I will visit him every Saturday. But I have to get back to the hospital. Nodding her understanding, Lily leaned forward, tired and sick. Casting a concerned glance to his sister, and then to the back room where the guests slept, Jeff let out a sigh and stroked his hair back. Well, bye. Lily waved behind her absent-mindedly, and with a small grin, Jeff ruffled her hair. With one last, "See you, Lily," Jeff was out the door. Lily K. Jefferson, why do I keep saying the full name, was a tall girl of almost 5'9", 5'8" and 7/10 to be precise, and was rather broad-shouldered for her gender and age. Again, the huge focus on physical appearance because I was a huge, at that age, I was twice the height of every guy. I was broad-shouldered. I had a big forehead. Everybody made fun of me. You could tell in my stories that I was obsessed a little bit with that. Barely pushing 24. I don't know what barely pushing that means. I guess she just turned 24. The girl had to duck to enter her own kitchen, but her personality and looks were quite the opposite. While she seemed rather intimidating, Lily was meeker than a mouse. She was a kind, motherly soul, but only the neighborhood children had ever spoken to her, other than her brother, of course. Ever, in her whole life, the only people she's ever talked to are her brother and the children in the neighborhood. Hayner often dropped by to give Lily the daily papers. Many times, Lily would wake up in the morning and read Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday's paper just before noon on Wednesday. I guess I'm trying to say Hayner's bad at the daily paper job, but how did he travel forward in time and get the Thursday one? Pence came to help Lily with computer problems and to taste some of her delicious cookies. Every Tuesday, Olette would visit to be tutored in science, and Cypher came about to bum around with his pals. Lily stood and wavered, leaning against the kitchen door. Of course, her head hit the doorframe. Of course. But it helped wake her woozy mind. Bending down and stepping through the door, Lily walked into the living room where the enigmatic man slept on the sofa bed. He was quite handsome. A rare breed in these parts, and sculpted like a god. When Jeff had first started cleaning the man's wounds, Lily turned not just to look away from the gore and vomit into her bucket, but also so Jeff wouldn't catch her drooling over the man's masculinity. So while she's so sick to her stomach, she's vomiting because of the wounds of this man, and she's still also really turned on. Like, that's not stopping her from getting on. Oh, Jesus. I see everyone talking about the Gaylord thing. Fun story. I know exactly why I named that character that way. I mean, also, it's like an 11-year-old joke to be like the character's name, Jeff Gaylord Jefferson. My brother's name is Jeff Jefferson. And he's an asshole, and he always was, and I'm probably named this character Jeff Gaylord because I thought it was funny and mean to him. God. Without bothering to check on the man, Lily stumbled into her shabby gray bedroom. Lily plopped into bed and smiled for the first time that night, ready to sleep whatever was left of the night away. Bing, bing! Snapping her eyes open, Lily watched angrily as her alarm clock flashed. Apparently, there was nothing of the night left. Well, I'm going to jump a little further, because we didn't actually get anything from Xemnas. There's a lot of, like, her interacting with kids. Okay, here we go. He's woken up in the house and is confused about what the hell's happening. Here we go. Jesus, this is... Xemnas was in an awkward position. At first, he was angered by the woman's intrusion in the room. Then, he noticed a likeness of her on the wall nearby and was confused. When he realized that that in keeping him from launching an attack, the woman had accidentally planted his hand firmly in the valley of her breasts. He felt embarrassed. Above all, he was delighted. He could feel. "Who are you?" The woman gasped and turned to the man? How does she turn to the man if his hand is in the valley of her breasts? Part of her felt awkward for clutching his hand, and the other wanted to clutch much more than that. Another part of her slapped the part that wanted more. The more glared and fought back, and the awkward part just left the group. When the daydream was over, Lily knocked herself in the head. Xemnas stared dumbfounded at the weird woman before him, who had just slapped herself. "I'm Lily," she murmured, bowing her head in respect. She still had his hand in her hand, so when she bowed, his gloved fingers caressed her cheek. Immediately she let him go, blushing. Xemnas took a moment to look at his hand as it tingled from her touch. What was happening to him? Was he, dare he ask, real? "And you?" Xemnas looked the girl over, but he did not say a word. A little disappointed, Lily sighed. It was then she noticed the new blood on the sheets. Lily began taking off the bloody bandages to fix them, as much as her stomach churned and twisted to do so. She began taking care of him. Xemnas stared, incredulously. Could it be he was alive because of her? Without saying a word, Xemnas watched her move and help him. Soon enough, he fell asleep. That's where we're gonna call that one. Yep, right there. That's that one. So yeah, that's all 4 of our, I am red in the face. Oh Jesus. That's all 4 of the stories that we have prepared for this time. So now we can vote on which one we want to continue. 2 of them are long form and will be the Kingdom Hearts Accelerate and the Final Fantasy Silent Hill are longer stories that we'd have to read over a couple times. The other 2 are one-shots that would be probably one and done. And of course, not choosing one this time doesn't mean we can't read it next time. Because obviously we're going to keep doing this. It's fun. You can vote for any of the stories. If you vote with a donation, for one, thank you, and for another, the votes will count $1 for each vote. So you can only vote once unless you donate with monetary value. Because, I want everybody to be able to vote, but this is also kind of... I started this project as something of a fundraiser as well for the channel. We will start with, I guess I can go back and recap over. We have the Silent Hill Final Fantasy VII story. We have the Kingdom Hearts sequel with the awkward comedy. We have the one where those two fuck, the Dissidia story, where I have to freaking speak as those characters, Jesus. And we have the Organization 13 OC Extravaganza, which I guess means that only one of the stories is really a one-shot, because while each of the Xemnas story is a one-shot, it's the first in a series where each one is a romance with one of the organization members. So there's 3 long stories and one-shot. I guess we'll do, I'll name the story and then y'all chime in. And I know Jeff and Handsome Ratch both donated, and we will definitely, y'all will get a little bit more weight there. Thank you. So first, we will vote for Silent Hill Final Fantasy. If that is the one you would like to hear next, go ahead and sound off yay or nay. Well, you don't have to say nay, just don't say anything. Just say yay if this is the one you would like to pick, and then we will go to the next. Oh man, my voice is rough now. Alright, we got 4 yays for this one. 5. I didn't know y'all would be into this one. We got 6, 7, 8. 8 yays for this one. Wow. I was surprised. I don't know why I'm surprised. I just felt like, I guess that one was sort of a, I don't know. last minute add-on. Hey, E.T. Oh, I'm sorry. You have arrived near the end. We're voting on what we're going to do next, and I read some of the stories for everybody. Sorry that you've missed. Let me go ahead and write down how many yays we got. Let's see. Where'd my notepad go? God, I'm so brain dead right now. Here we go. So I think we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... We got 9. Alright, so that's the Silent Hill Final Fantasy is 9 votes. Alright, next story. We got the Kingdom Hearts sequel. If you want to see the Kingdom Hearts sequel be read next. Yay! Do 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 do. Alright, so clearly that one's gonna be waiting. Lester Yay, can I do that twice? Well, you can go ahead and throw your vote in if you'd like. I'm not hard on rules or anything. I would like to try and encourage people to donate, but I don't want to punish people for not donating. But yeah, it does look like that one we will hang on to for the future. Which is honestly, I think I dodged a bullet there. Now we've got The Actor and the Jester, the story where I read in the voices of Kuja and Kefka about how the two of them fuck. I won't actually be reading fucking, don't worry about that. No, it's romance story. So now vote if this is the story you want to hear me read. The Kuja and the Kefka story. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. This would have been your second choice. I did consider that since it's a one-shot, we could read it and then read the next long story if there was interest in it. So I guess we could if folks enjoyed it. I was worried about whether this was too cringe or not. Like if it crossed the line to being so cringy it's not funny. Did you guys enjoy this? If you did, and you would like to read, like, if you found that story funny, if you were listening and found it entertaining, then we can read it next week, and then after that, we'll start the long-form story that we vote for today. Seems like people did enjoy it. Oh boy, so that's what we'll read next week. Oh man. Out of curiosity, how many fics did you write when you were younger? A lot. I started with Kingdom Hearts. I wrote nearly 300,000 words. I'm hesitant, like, there's a part of me that for some reason just can't get over the step of I could just share my link to my fanfiction account from when I was a kid. I don't still use it. But there's a part of me that's like, oh god, oh no, oh god, but then people will know and be able to read it. And also it kind of takes away the surprise later when I do more of these episodes. But I am creating a new AO3 account to post the stories that are read on these things. I haven't received my invite yet. It should come tomorrow, and then I'll post the ones we've already read, so people will be able to read those. I wrote 34 stories on my original account that I stopped using in like 2014, probably. A lot of Kingdom Hearts, like 20 stories in Kingdom Hearts. The Dante stories on here, a couple of Final Fantasy VII stories, 4 or 5 actually. Wow. And then the rest, I think, are Silent Hill fanfics, 1 Pokemon fanfic, and then a lot of Silent Hill fanfics, and 1 Transformers fanfic. Oh god, the Silent Hill fanfics. I can't even begin. I almost put them on the list this week, and then I was like, no, I'm not ready for this shame. I'm not ready to share this shame. God. Oh, man. Stop calling! I'm working! The dog can pee later. I just walked her an hour ago. She got so much pee. Alright, later. Yeah, so that's the one I used in basically up to high school. When I got to high school, I switched to when I got to college, I switched to AO3. And at AO3, I have about 60 stories. Star Trek. Here, let me log in and see. Some Final Fantasy. Silent Hill again. Avengers was really big for a while, and I wrote 3 or 4 of those. Even a Harry Potter one, a Dishonored, a Legend of Zelda, Lord of the Rings, a lot of Lord of the Rings. And I think that's most everything. Dragon Age, I did a little of that. What characters are the Transformers fic about? It was a story set in the Transformers Prime cartoon, and it was mostly about my trucker OC, who kind of fell in love with Optimus Prime. Don't judge me. Oh, God. Oh, the Zelda? The Zelda I actually love and really enjoy, even though since it's not shipping or anything, nobody read it. It's just like the way that Breath of the Wild made me feel. No. I was this close to putting the Transformers fic on this week, and I didn't. I actually ended up stopping writing that story because it turned into a legit short story that I sent in to a publisher and tried to get published. I didn't win, but the trucker character became a character in her own story, and I just stopped writing the fanfic. But there's 7 or 8 chapters of it. And she was a country girl. She was all my relatives from Wilmington in human form as a trucker girl. She has to, like, drive Optimus Prime across the country for the government because he's too damaged to transform, and they gotta travel under the radar for some reason. And then she ends up figuring out he's a robot and saving him and joining the Autobots. And she's like an adult and everybody else was a kid. Used her in something else without robot smooching. Technically, I never got to robot smooching. They just kind of flirt. I don't know that they flirt. They just kind of exist near each other and have feelings, you know? Oh, man. Hey, Diana. All right, well, we gotta do the one more vote. Is there any Decepticons? Hell yeah, there's Decepticons. It kind of played with the Transformers Prime universe, so, like, all the characters of that cartoon were in it. Is Cloud and Pyramid Head an actual option? Yes, so far that's the story that's winning. Pyramid Head's not actually in the story. It is a Final Fantasy VII story written like it was a Silent Hill story. Oh god, KISS players! I did not know about the existence of KISS players when I wrote that story, okay? For those who don't know, KISS players is a Japanese Transformers story where the Transformers gain powers by kissing girls. Oh, God. No, it's not KISS players fake. Never. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, good luck with finals, Diana. Okay, so, last story. The Organization 13 romance stories. Vote if you want that to be the next story rather than Silent Hill. At this point, we're voting against whether the next long-form story will be Silent Hill or the Organization 13 romance stories. Well, not Silent. It's Final Fantasy VII, but horror. Oh, yeah, the KISS players is incredibly creepy. Anime was a mistake. Oh, there's exceptions where it wasn't a mistake, but mostly it was a mistake. Hey, Dagger. It's really gross. It's super gross. It's so gross. I remember looking it up once, because all I knew was, like, the way it was described in this forum or something, it was, like, the teenage girls and robots, and I was like, I like teenage girls and robots, and then I looked and I was like, this is not what, no, no. Okay, so, vote for if this is the story you want. Nobody's voting, so do I take that as everybody wants Final Fantasy VII as a Silent Hill horror story as the next one? Is Silent Hill our next story? Oh man, I do remember. Alright, so it seems like everybody wants the Final Fantasy VII Silent Hill crossover, which is so funny because I almost didn't include that one. I was like, this isn't that funny. It's just kind of weird. Oh, man. But we'll read next week the Kefka and Kuja, romance story, and then the week after that, we'll start the Final Fantasy VII long-form thing. That'll be our next long story. Oh, Jesus. Wait, Handsome Ratch says, no, I voted? What do you mean by no, I voted? Okay, let me clarify. Were you saying yes to you wanted the Final Fantasy VII story, or you wanted the romance story? Because I got confused. I need to come up with a better way to do this. I need to just do a poll and link it in here and just have everybody do the poll next time. Why do I not think of these things ahead of time? I have to do it wrong one time and then be like, oh, I should have done this. Whatever the last one was. Okay, so you want that? The Organization 13 romance story? It is a one-shot. We could read that one and then read the other one. And then read the... So we could do, as a compromise, we can do... Okay, we'll do... Next week will be Kefka and Kuja. The week after that, we'll do the Xemnas story. And then we'll get into the Final Fantasy long form. We'll read those 3. And then after that, we'll do another auction and kind of examine some more options. I had so many things that I went through and was like, I culled a lot of stuff. There's many, many years of fanfic that we could read. Some of them I didn't pick because I wasn't sure, like, you know, there's an era of where I feel like I was getting better as a writer, but I still wasn't that great. And looking at them, it was like, well, these aren't really that funny. They're just kind of, you know, they're just stories. I don't know. But we'll get there eventually. Maybe if we read all the old bad ones, maybe eventually we'll get to the good ones that I like. And I'll be creating that fanfic account and linking it at some point. Thank you to those guys who donated. It really does help keep the channel going and helps me, buy all the frickin' video games coming out in March. Jeez, I was looking at that the other day. Now that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon's coming out, I want that. Oh, Final Fantasy VII. There's something else that's coming. Persona's coming out. So that's 3 things in March. God. Oh, boy. So, yeah. Thank you, guys. And thanks to everybody who watched and listened in and had fun with us. It's a delight to do this, and it amazes me that people enjoy not just the channel, which is super fun, but also me being silly with voice acting and Photoshop. This is the goofiest thing I do. So yeah, tonight I will be streaming some more Pokemon Sword at like 6 or 7, so like a little less than an hour. And then tomorrow at 2, we're doing Fire Emblem. On Sunday, we're having our anime watch party for members only. So if you're a member on Patreon or YouTube, you can join in. You can donate as little as $1 a month, and you get to hang out and watch anime and chat in the Discord. And then we'll stream again also that day. We may be trying to do the Vampire Masquerade game on Sunday as well. We'll see how my schedule works. RE3 Remake comes out in March too? God, March is trying to kill my freaking wallet and schedule. God, you need some of these pictures. I'll have to post some of them in the Discord. The best ones for sure. Can you ask? Yeah, ask what you would like to ask before we head out of here. If anybody has any questions, feel free. I think I've already embarrassed myself plenty. Nothing else can possibly embarrass me. Oh, and I did mean to ask. Which anime? We are finishing up watching Gangsta. We've been watching it, after a couple weeks. And after we finish it this week, we're gonna go to just watching movies every week, so it's not something people have to keep up with and watch every week. They can just jump in and hang out. Has anyone passed me their fanfic? I don't believe so. I used to share fanfics with friends and stuff. One day, we may have to read... My friends and I wrote a story, on paper at a birthday party, and it was a bunch of short stories where it was all self-insert OCs of us with our favorite anime characters, but they were summoned to the real world for reasons. I was shipped with Alucard, because of course I was. And then, I think my friends were... It was Alucard, L from Death Note, Gaara from Naruto, the Dark from that thief thing where he's D and Angel, and who was Hitsugaya from Bleach. That was the last one. Yeah, that's great. Don't know where to write your fanfic? Discord or a notebook? Try, check out AO3. It may take you a day or two to get a, actual invite. But they tend to be pretty quick about turnarounds. Let me put the link there. check out that website. They have a pretty good file editor, and then you can post it right there and have people check it out, and you can tag everything, which makes it really easy for people to find your work, or, you know, to avoid works they don't want to read. It's really cool. Would I be interested? Sure. If you want to hop on the Discord, you can send me a message there. It's probably the easiest way. Or if you just want to link, you know, if you feel comfortable linking it here, yeah, I'll check out people's fanfics. That'd be fun. But yeah, I should go because apparently the dog needs walked and is waiting patiently for me. Thanks again, guys. I'll see y'all in a little bit, and see ya. Bye.